AI is taking over the world, but should you trust a chatbot like ChatGPT to give you a PC recommendation for your next PC? Well, my name is Valentino, and in this video we will find out, because I will be asking different AI chatbots about the same PC build recommendation to see if they are actually capable of recommending at least a decent PC for you to build in case you are looking for one. That being said, I will be asking for a $1,500 gaming PC to play at 1440p resolution. That being said, let's start. So after having a conversation with ChatGPT, because it's kinder than all of you haters in the comment section, I decided to ask for the $1,500 PC recommendation. Now I gotta say that I do not like this recommendation, and the reason why is because it recommended me all the components with a Ryzen 5 5600X and the RTX 3070. Sure, this would have been a nice PC in 2020 or 2021, but not in 2024. The RTX 3070 has 8 gigs of VRAM, which is not ideal for 1440p, and even though you can play at 1440p here, it's not like this ChatGPT says, because it says building a gaming PC for 1440p resolution within a $1,500 budget can provide you with a powerful system capable of handling modern games at high settings. Here is a well-balanced recommendation. And no, you cannot play the latest modern high-demanding titles on high settings with the 3070, because almost all of them will require more than 8 gigs of VRAM, especially when we talk about 1440p. Then the rest of the components are fine. I mean, nothing too crazy. Everything is compatible. The other thing that I do not like is the case, is the NZXT H510, because this one is not the Flow version, meaning that it doesn't have a front mesh panel, so the airflow is not going to be amazing there. And the total price is $1,320, so it didn't even give me the full $1,500 recommendation. After doing some research, I found out that the last knowledge update for ChatGPT was in April 2023, but then I did some more research and in some websites it said April 2024, so that was a bit confusing, and I will tell you what I did after. But before telling you that, I wanna say that even if the last knowledge upgrade was in April 2023, this is not a good PC recommendation anyways. I was making videos in April 2023 recommending PCs around $1,600 that were much better than this one with the RTX 3070 that you could have easily gotten for less at that time. Even then, in April 2023, there were better components, and I've checked the price history for the RTX 3070 and the RX 6800 XT, and the last time that the 3070 was $500 was in March, and the RX 6800 XT was $436. And if that's the case, well, at that time the 6800 XT was around $70 less, so I think that would have been the better recommendation. More VRAM and overall a better graphics card for the price, especially when it comes to gaming. So the ChatGPT recommendation was not great. However, I did decide to ask one more time, and this time I said recommend me something with brand new components, and I have no idea why, but ChatGPT this time recommended me a pretty decent PC with brand new components, so I'm not pretty sure about that knowledge update, because this time the recommendation was different. Now, with this latest recommendation, this is actually a pretty decent gaming PC. You can play at 1440p high to ultra settings with this one because you get an AMD Ryzen 5 7600X alongside the RTX 4070 Super. To be fair, the prices were not updated here because the 7600X is now cheaper than $250, so I believe this is based on MSRP pricing. The entire PC is a nice PC. If you put it together, you will have a nice 1440p gaming experience. However, it's nowhere near a nice $1,500 system, because for this price you can do so much better. You can have faster RAM speeds, better airflow, and a better GPU for better performance. So even though it's not the best recommendation, if you put this one together, you are going to be having a nice gaming experience at 1440p. So I am not going to hate on this recommendation. And then it also gave me the reason why it picked every component with additional recommendations and some tips when buying. So overall, this system is a pretty decent one. But should you trust it? I don't think so. Next, I decided to ask the Google bot Gemini to see what it recommended me. When asking Google Gemini, I noticed one thing. It has the nicest layout. I really like the design for this bot, and it also gave me every PC component with its picture, which is actually nice to see. But there was a huge mistake here. Even though the PC was pretty decent overall, the motherboard wasn't compatible. It had a B550 motherboard with a Ryzen 7 7700 processor, which is not going to be compatible. If you put this PC together, you literally cannot use it. And it also had the DDR4 memory because that motherboard cannot support DDR5, but if you have a Ryzen 7 7700, you must have DDR5 memory because the motherboards that actually support this Ryzen 7 only support DDR5. So next I decided to ask if the DDR4 memory kit that the chat chose was compatible with this build. And the reply was not great either. It said, "You're absolutely right, I made a mistake with the previous recommendation," and it said the B550 motherboard only supports DDR4, while the Ryzen 7 7700 utilizes the newer DDR5 memory, which is fine, that's correct. But then it gave me a confusing memory kit, 16 gigs of RAM, DDR5, 3600, that doesn't exist, so it's also another mistake, and instead of recommending me an entire new motherboard because it's just not compatible with the CPU plus the RAM, it only recommended me some RAM that doesn't exist. And on top of that, if you buy DDR5 memory, you will not be able to use it inside of the B550 motherboard. So then I had to ask once again, is the motherboard compatible with the Ryzen 7 7700? And the answer was no, it's not compatible. And then it gave me an updated version of the motherboard, which is the B650 version. That one is compatible, but it doesn't make sense for you to take this recommendation anyway, because if you are a beginner and you mess it up the first time, you are basically fucked. But anyway, to make this more interesting, I put together this PC, but the compatible version inside of the PC part picker list, and the total price was around $1,500, and it actually had a really good level of performance because you get a Ryzen 7, 4070 Super, DDR5 memory, even though it's a slow RAM, and I wouldn't recommend it. Overall, it's a nice system, but for $1,500, we can do so much better. And then last but not least, I decided to ask the AI from Microsoft. This one was the worst one. It recommended me something with the i3 14100F and the Intel Arc A380. To be fair, it also recommended me an article where you can find a $1,500 PC, but that's not the point of this video. The point was trying to see if AI was going to help me with the right PC or not, so recommending me an external website. Okay, it's fair enough, but it's not what I'm here for. In the end, I also made my own $1,500 PC recommendation for you to see the difference between my PC and every AI PC that was recommended today. My PC recommendation includes a Ryzen 5 7600 and the RTX 4070 Ti Super, which is quite faster than the 4070 Super, and here I went for 32 gigs of DDR5 memory, fast memory by the way, and since you get 32 gigs of RAM, it's going to be ideal if you want to do streaming and other tasks. Then I went with 2 TB of SSD instead of 1 TB, so you get more storage. Then you get a case with plenty of airflow and 4 pre-installed fans, and you get an A-tier rated power supply, which has 850 watts, which is also ideal if you want to do some future upgrades. I ended up under $1,500, and for you to see the performance difference between my PC and every AI system, take a look at this test from TechSpot on a 12-frame average in high demanding titles like Cyberpunk 2077 and The Last of Us Part 1. This is 1440p high to ultra settings, and as you can see, the 4070 Ti Super was able to average 124 FPS, while the 4070 Super 108, so is slower, and this was the GPU recommendation for the ChatGPT for the second time. And then the RTX 3070 is not even competing here with an average of 72 FPS, and the Intel Arc A380 is even slower than the slowest GPU here, the RTX 2060 Super, so the average for that system is going to be lower than 44 FPS, which is not great at 1440p resolution. And then if we jump up to 4K, the 4070 Ti Super was able to average 70 FPS, while the 4070 Super 60 FPS, the 3070 39 FPS, and well, the 2060 Super 24 FPS, so it's not even competing here, just like the 3070. So for my final thoughts, I believe it's pretty clear. AI does not have enough knowledge yet about computers. The most decent one was the second recommendation from ChatGPT, but I had to ask once again, so if you are a beginner, you want to have the right answer from the first question. And Google Gemini was also a good recommendation if it was compatible. I mean, not a good one, but at least a decent one. The thing is, that first PC that I asked was not compatible, so if you're a beginner and you put together the first recommendation from this bot, then you are just not going to be able to build it, and it's going to be a headache for you. So the good news is that AI is not taking my job yet, so if you want personal PC help, you will have my personal PC help in the top link in the description, where I will be giving you the perfect PC build or pre-built PC for your budget and your needs. Thank you guys for watching, thank you for support. Let me know what you think about these AI recommendations down in the comment section, and I will see you in the next one.